This is Scotty Silver for IFL TV in association with MTK Global. I'm at the Ingle GME in Fuerteventura with none other than Dominic Ingle.
How you doing, Scotty? Good.
Good to see you. I should imagine you've only just got here because I saw you on the telly Saturday night in the corner with Willie Hutchins. Good fight.
Yeah, we came in, flew in last night, got back. Putting a good performance. Willie was over here for 2 weeks before his fight. Flew into England a few days before his fight, and putting a very good performance against a very tough journeyman. And I think Frank Warren was impressed, and we've got a lot of work to do, but he's certainly one to watch for the future.
Well, I was going to say, Willie, is it 19, isn't it?
He's 19, but I think he's 20 in August. He's very keen, he's a very enthusiastic kid, very polite, loves his boxing, loves to fight, a happy-go-lucky type of chap, and he's a pleasure to be around.
Well, I think the guy that he was fighting, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think he's ever been stopped either, has he?
I don't think he's ever been stopped in his amateur or professional career. Adam Jones is a very tough kid, a bit of a gatekeeper of the division. You never beat him by maybe 1 or 2 rounds. More than 1 or 2 rounds. He's a tough kid, and he learnt a lot in that fight. He got a little cut. The kid was, what I call old manning him, tying him up. Stuck the knot on him a few times, hit him low, and he kept his composure and came through the round. So a good performance. Got a lot of experience from that fight, and that kid's, I think, he's about 50 odd fights, and he's upset a couple of prospects along the way as well. So Willie got him under control quite early on, and just boxed his way through it.
And of course, a big occasion as well, Ellen Road. He seemed to handle that all right as well. Yeah,
good. It was a live swing, so you get about 2 minutes notice and you're in the ring. And Nicola Adams and Jack Catterall's fights went short, and we had 5 minutes and we were straight in. So you're on high alert most of the time, and usually you get your slot and you're on for a certain time. You get time to warm up properly. So it's the same for the other kid. But all that, just a young kid in his 4th fight, he handled it quite well. And what a great fight the main fight was. Warrington dragged Selby into that fight. He dragged him into his fight, and Selby really should have known better and stood off and boxed, but didn't. He got involved, and for me, that was the only way that Warrington was going to win it. And I didn't think Lee Selby would have got dragged in. I thought he'd have stood on the outside and boxed him, but he got dragged in, and fair play to Warrington. He hasn't looked fantastic in all his fights, but on that night, it just reminded me of the Ricky Costa Zoo fight, where he got the crowd behind him. He chucked everything into it, and it was a great scrap. There was blood, guts, glory. So and he filled 3/4 filled the football stadium, and that's the kind of thing you need in boxing. You need to put bums on seats. It's a spectator sport, and we need fighters who can get them type of crowds and get people interested. It's good for everybody.
Yeah. Well, last time I saw you, it was just before the big bill in Sheffield, where Teeth was fighting, Galahad was fighting, Kell was fighting. A great night for your boxers. Obviously, all in training again. Any of them got any dates lined up yet?
Yeah, we're just waiting for Kell's fight date to get confirmed, and hopefully they'll be on that. But yeah, it was a great bill. It was a local bill. They had some great fights on, local kids. And that's what they want in Sheffield. They don't want to be looking at kids from London and everywhere else. They want to be looking at local lads. We got Dave Allen on, McDonnell on, Barry, Kell, Atif. Everybody came away from that show afterwards. What a great bill it was. And in this day and age, you don't tend to get good undercards. You get a good main fight and a good support, and everything else is just crammed on. But Eddie put on a good show that night, and everybody was talking about it for weeks afterwards. The Sheffield, bumping into people saying, "Oh, what a great night of boxing it was! Enjoyed it," because they want the local interest. And Atif put in a great performance. He was the underdog, and I never for 1 minute didn't expect him to pull it off, because I just think they totally underestimated Atif. Atif is a very, very tough, dedicated kid, and he was the main sparring partner for Josh Warrington for that fight.
Yeah.
So they used the brains, Warrington's team. Selby's a bit of a mover, he's an awkward, got good footwork, and Atif's the same. And he got I think he said he did 50 rounds with Josh Warrington. And his dad phoned Atif up afterwards, Josh's dad, and said, "Oh, thanks for everything, we're over the moon, everything we did paid off," and that's, fair play.
Yeah, and of course you're now into like the second fight build up for Jason Quigley as well. He looked really good in his last fight, and some tasty sparring going on early with Billy Joe Saunders as well. How was it all bonding with Jason?
Yeah, I mean, Jason, look, he's a quality kid. That spar he had today was Billy. It's Jason's first spar back after his fight, and he's not doing any sparring. So he jumped in there, but he said that's what he used to do in America all the time. They just sling him with anybody, and it just gives him a level of where he's at this point in time. Hopefully he's fighting at the end of July, and he's a fit kid. He keeps himself on it. I think by his own admission he said he was about 60%. But as a world champion, it's good experience. It's good experience for Jason. Getting in there with the likes of Bully Joe Saunders, because Bully can, if he wants to have a fight, he'll have a fight. But if he wants to stand up and box, you can stand up and box. So you're getting a bit of everything. And today he saw a little bit of everything, and it makes Jason realise where he's at, and what he's got to do. So yeah, it was good spar, and he's on it now. He's living in Sheffield. Luckily now he's living in Sheffield. He can just jump on a plane from East Midlands, 15 quid, 30 quid. Spend the weekend in Ireland if he needs to, and then come back and nothing's lost. Whereas it's a bit different if you're living in America. So he's happy, he's training hard, and he's loving the camp.
Yeah, I think that was the thing with Jason, wasn't it? I think his love affair, really, it was just coming to an end in America. He was missing family and friends.
You've got to listen, boxing's a lonely sport, and it's great being in new places for a period of time, but you need people around you, you need your family around you. And like I say, he's in a good place. We had a great fight in Boston. Probably too much of a tough opponent, if I'm honest, for what I actually wanted. But he came through. I didn't really want anybody that he was going to have a war with. But he pulled it out of the bag, hit him with a body shot, and down he went. But Jason quickly can fight. He's only 28. And he's got plenty more to come, so it's just another building process with him.
Yeah, and before we go, just quickly touching on, of course, Tyson Fury's returned, but also Terry Flanagan bidding to become a 2-weight world champion against Maurice Hooker. Is the ring rust going to be a factor with someone like Terry? He hasn't fought since last April.
No, not really, because you can take time out, but he's always active. Terry, listen, he came over here and trained. He's a fit kid. We went on a bike ride. He was like a Tour de France rider. Nobody could keep up with him. So I think if anything, he probably does too much. But he's been boxing from a long time. When you've been boxing from an early age, you don't really get ring rust, because he has good sparring, and it's not like. It's like, if you didn't drive for a year and you got in a car, you'd still be able to drive a car perfect. And it's the same with boxing. It's only kids who are probably not as experienced as Terry Flanagan, or you've had an injury, a big injury like on your upper body probably, but it can affect your time, and where that could be a problem being out for that long. He's a problem with his foot, which is his movement, but it's not affected his hand. He came out here a couple of weeks back, the last camp, had a great camp, did a bit of training with us. So it'd be a good fight. I'm expecting him to win. Tyson Fury, I saw him on Saturday. He looked in fantastic shape. He's dropped all that weight, but then again, he's got the dietitian, hasn't he, Greg Marriott, who does Kells, does Billy's, does Terry's, and I was listening to a conversation this morning with him and Greg, and he's around the 20 stone mark, which is fantastic for him. He's looking in good shape. So looking forward to that fight, the return of Tyson Fury, and shaking up the heavyweight division.
Golden age of boxing again at the moment.
Well, it is. You've got Anthony Joshua filling stadiums, beating everybody. It'd be great for Tyson to throw himself into the mix of Deontay Wilder, Anthony Joshua, Dillian White. Some great fights. And he's still only a young man. I think he's only 28, 29. So, time's on his side.
And then you must be loving all this as well. I know you're a boxing fan. You're not just a trainer. You love the sport of boxing. Is this going back to the glory days of those sort of 80s and 90s for you? Yeah,
listen, we have us peaks and troughs in boxing, don't we? We had the Naz days, we had Ben, Eubank, we had a bit of a lull, then we got Ricky Hatton, who had a great career, alongside Carl Zaggy running at the same time, and now, it's, Cole Frotch, don't forget Cole Frotch, George Groves, anybody who can fill them stadiums and pack places out, it's good for boxing, and getting the interest, once you get the interest of the British public, Joshua's doing that with these fights. They not only start looking at Anthony Joshua, they start looking at everybody else. Who else can we go and watch? And he's getting the casual fan into being an ardent fan, and making the fights. And Eddie Hearn's doing a great job. He's making those fights that people want to see. David A, Bellew, it was a good fight. It didn't last long, but he went out on his shield. David A. It was a good punch up. Yeah. And he's finished his career. If he is finished, I think he is on a high. And Tony's moving on to other things. So it's Eddie Hearn's making the fights that people want to see. And they're exciting fights.
Anything else you would like to add before we say our goodbyes?
I just hope the weather gets a bit brighter. It's a bit dull this morning.
I
isn't
know,
it? So
come all
it's
the way
actually-
back over here.
Is that better in England? So
It's not great, mate, is it?
No, but
Not great.
It's a nice, relaxing atmosphere, and this gym's a great place to train. So hopefully it brightens up by the end of the week.
Absolutely. Dominic, thanks for giving us time like you always do. True gentleman. And here's for a great summer with the Ingle fighters.
Can you give me that 50 quid now you promised me?
Absolutely.
Oh, thanks.